Alright, here's the next event from the event that I did an hour or so ago with them 2 feeders. There we got T-post, 6-foot T-post, 5 foot in the ground. This pipe is 5 foot long because I cut a 10-foot piece in half. Used number 9 wire, just drilled me 2 holes and wrapped that wire around that T-post at the top and the bottom. And that way it holds it straight and it holds this pipe to the post where it ain't flopping. Now I did get a little close to this pine tree, but it is what it is. If a squirrel jumps to that and gets him a grain of corn, I don't give a flippity flop. But that feeder is 20 yards to this tree. This is the best tree for this situation. I had to trim all of this stuff below sea level with my doggone razor knife. Now the tree is leaning like the Tower of Pisa. So I just took my razor knife and I scraped all that bark off to get it. It's easier to drill than trying to drill on chunks of bark and get your holes off. And it needs to be right. But I kind of turned my box at an angle and run my 3 bolts, and I had to let it flop a little because I needed it to be more aiming that way because it's hard to tell. Boy, I almost messed up and got it aimed too far. I really needed to put it over right here, would have been better. But I ain't unscrewing and re-drilling them holes and screwing them back in. So I'll get me a wedge this week. When I come back next weekend, I'll drive it in there secure and just barely tighten them bolts. Because you don't want to tweak it, as I said in the previous video, or that won't just go in there real easy. It'll get that box torqued and that thing won't want to line up. And the key is you got that little slit there. You get this in there first, and you just start dropping it down it. You want that lock slit in that other slit, and then you just let them 2 hooks, kind of like on a bed frame. You get them up and started, and then you just let them go at the same time. But as you pull up, pick up, you kind of tilt the top out and it just goes in there. But that has to be down in that slit, because if you go to start doing that, it gets it all cockeyed and that ain't gonna work. This is a pretty good box for the Primos Proof Cam. It was $34.99 prime, 2-day shipping. I had $800 worth of trail cameras stole. I had Python Master Locks. And that dude, he walked back in there a mile. I know who it was. He better hope I don't see him. Because me and him going to have a little talk about $800 worth of Primos Ultra 35 cameras. You can rest assured of that. I don't even remember how far. My rangefinder is in my backpack on my back. I ain't pulling it off because I'm doggone cooking after I've walked in here. Ratcheted all them doggone. First year I ever crossbow hunted, I was sitting in this very spot. And I seen something coming way out there, black. It was 3 hogs. That was before hogs overtook this place. And them suckers walked all the way down. And they walked down this gully here and got down in this little old dip and was standing right here, 6 yards. And I learned a valuable lesson that morning. In my haste, when I took the safety off, that pig heard it. And they all went running off that way. I mean, they went as soon as I see something that I may or may not want to shoot at, I'm taking the safety off while they're way out there. Because that cost me a pig that day. Blind man could have hit the sucker at 6 yards. But anyway, yeah, let's do a little old lookarooski. I see not one wasp. So I'm gonna ease up this little ladder. And I may be coming down this ladder at a high rate of speed. Oh boy, let's see what we got happening here. Phone may go, I may go. Everything on the planet may go if I see one little wasp humming. Oh boy. Oh, I missed one. I should have waited till dark. Oh boy. There was one wasp. And I didn't bring the wasp, there was one. Oh boy, there's two. Golly bum. I don't know if you can see him, but there's one. There's one more wasp right there in that crease. Gonna be, oh boy. Yeah, you can take my word on it. There was two. One flew and one still sitting. See him buzzing? Look at that sucker. That's the one that flew. He's coming back. So I missed two wasps, which if I'd have waited till dark, I could have still missed them because sometimes they get too far from their little nest and they can't make it home before dark, so they're kind of stuck. Well, that ain't bad. Only missed two. Now, next weekend, I'm going to bring the feeder and I'll bring the trail camera. I just bring the wasp blast again, come on. Should have ought to be slapped for not bringing it this time. Oh, I've seen a big buck out of that stand. Let me tell you what. Man, it's a good spot. Every year. I didn't have that skirting on it last year, and they were right there below that ratchet strap. They were on the pine tree, just huddled. And I wasp blasted them last year, but apparently they had some offspring. But anyway, man, I've had turkeys, bobcats, hogs, coyotes, big bucks, little bucks, does, fawns. I wired this. These limbs right here used to hang down and that sucker scraped every year, but it's just kind of rotted and went to nothing, so I cut me a limb last year and just wired it. Set it up there and I hung no, I didn't hang a scent dripper, I just made a mock scrape down there. But you can see right here, mud from a hog. And over on that tree, see all that mud? Well, I've managed to wound myself. Hog, I've had some 400 and 500 pounders. Well, I used to have my, I used to have my camera on that pine tree. Of course, all that was cut down, and them deer'd come this way, and they'd come from that way, and big bucks. Boy, I had 4 big bucks in 3 days during daylight. Of course, I was at work 6 days a week back at that time, and boy, I missed out. But this is one good spot. I hate that limb rotted off right there. That they scraped under it every year, and that little oak tree right there, there's another little limb that hangs off, and they scrape on that, so they just come cruising right down this little hill. And I used to have everything set up, but on a north, northwest, west, southwest wind, sitting in this stand, that is no bueno, because it's a blowing from that way coming this way. So now I've got my setup on the other side, so a west, northwest, southwest wind, because most of your deer and your hogs come from that way, and they filter at an angle. They cross that ditch over there, and in fact the trail goes right under. There's two trails, one in front of the stand and one back. But anyway, that's today's event. I'm gonna make this my ultra. Oh snap! I forgot. I've got to mark this thing on my Onyx app. This is the third time I've been here, and I still almost got away without putting those coordinates. That way I can see how far it is to what. Because I'm gonna do a different walk in. I have to walk through too much woods, but I can drive and do a straighter shot, and I'm not walking from back that way this way, because you lots of woods, and since they typically come at an angle in the mornings especially, they filter back this way. But anyway, yeah, Wasp blast them next two commandos next week. All right, till the next event.